Hmm. So I read and heard you speak about the hidden treasure of Ukrainian choral music. Now, you mentioned you don't speak Ukrainian, you yourself are not even of Ukrainian ancestry or background. So what do you mean by this?
Well, that's a very good question, and I must say that I find myself using that expression quite often when I'm speaking with people about the Kyiv Chamber Choir, and it really boils down to this. I've been very fortunate. I'm a member of the board of Canada's Elmer Eisler Singers, so I'm fortunate enough to get to hear some wonderful choral music, 5 or 6 or 7 times a year. But I'm aware that there isn't very much new choral music that, you really can kind of get excited about. Well, then, one day in a meeting, Andrew Witter, my partner, said to me, have you ever really listened to Ukrainian choral? Well, as soon as I listened to a CD of the Kyiv Chamber Choir, I immediately turned to him and I said, where has this been hidden? Why haven't I heard this before? And so every time he comes to me and says, well, I've recorded another CD with Maestro Habdich, and I listen to this stuff and I just think, this is fabulous. Anybody who likes choral music, indeed, anybody who just likes good music, could not help but like this stuff. So really, to my way of thinking, all of us in North America really ought to be able to enjoy this more than we do, and it's our hope that this music would really become more and more a part of, I suppose, what you would call the mainstream music and culture of our country, so that any time that you think, boy, I'd like to listen to some good music, somewhere in your options would be Ukrainian choral music. It shouldn't be something that somebody should have to introduce to you. It should be something that everybody is aware of. And so as we've been able to bring this wonderful choir to Canada, and this is the 3rd time they've come for a Cross Canada tour, we're finding more and more people are now starting to really understand and appreciate Ukrainian choral music, even to the point of another fellow who is a member of the board of the Elmer Eisler Singers, who happens to be a dentist, uses Kyiv Chamber Choir music in order to make his patients relax.
Well, that's unique.
So I'm thinking that really is taking the idea of a hidden treasure perhaps to a level. But,
well, it's nice to get the exposure at this stage of the game, I suppose. Well, I know many of our Nashville's listeners would be delighted to get the tickets and give us more information about the concert, the tickets and the venues, the locations and so forth in Vancouver and Victoria.
Okay, well, we have an arrangement with TicketWeb. For those who like to get their tickets online, they can simply go to www.ticketweb.ca. But we find there's also very, very many people who prefer to speak to someone, perhaps prefer to speak in Ukrainian. And so my colleagues and my partner, Andy Witter, are very fluent in both English and Ukrainian, and they're available at a toll-free line. If your listeners are interested, the toll-free line is 1-877-266-2557.
Okay.
Now, there are other local groups. I know there's a number of Ukrainian community groups that are very actively selling tickets, so at that toll-free number, they can also tell you who in your own community may be selling tickets, and that might be more convenient. Last but not least, mostly with choral concerts, it's amazing. A lot of people make up their mind to go perhaps in the last day or two before the concert, and so they simply come to the door, and there are always tickets available at the door, too. So my colleagues are very good about handling that and getting people through fairly quickly, and when people do arrive, they will get a 20-page printed program that will tell them about the history of the music that they're going to hear that night and the history of the choir and some of the other interesting information that goes behind this fantastic concert that's going to be presented in two. I'm very delighted, by the way, too, to say that there are 2 concerts in British Columbia this time. Because the rest of the tour, there's 2 in Alberta, there's 2 in Saskatchewan, there's a number in Ontario, and so we're absolutely very, very delighted that the people in Victoria were able to make some ideas, put a little plan together when we agreed with the plan, and we're looking forward to seeing them, as I say, on the 27th of April, and then the people in Vancouver, of course, on April 28th.
Okay. And the cost of the tickets is?
The ticket cost in Vancouver is $40, which includes all the sales taxes. and that's a standard cost around the country. But because this is the first time the choir has been in Victoria, we decided it would be wise to give the good people of Victoria a bit of a break. So their tickets are only $35, including all the sales taxes. So those are, I think, these days fairly reasonable prices.
Oh, absolutely, for a concert of this caliber, for sure.
Yes, and of course, the thing is, too, when you bring 23 people from Ukraine to Canada, and then you tour them and you feed them and you arrange the promotions and all that, this is a fairly expensive project, this tour. And so obviously, while we certainly appreciate the support that we get from our sponsors and our patrons, we do rely on individual ticket buyers to cover the cost.
But there will be a few lucky listeners who may get away without actually paying, because you very kindly offered to do a couple of ticket giveaways to listeners of Nash Holos. So thank you very much for that, and we will give away those tickets to the first two callers to call at this number I'm going to give right after we've let Ernie go. So get your pens ready and your dialing fingers ready, and we'll give away a couple of sets of tickets to the first lucky two callers. Thank you so much for joining us, Ernie, for telling us all this wonderful information about the Kyiv Chamber Choir. Very much look forward to seeing them and hearing them in concert. Thank you so much.
You're more than welcome. And just to reiterate again, Maestro Hobditch and his wonderful, wonderful singers are looking forward to seeing all the good people of Vancouver and Victoria at these two concerts.
Great. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Bye for now.
Okay.